Well, I'm glad that's done. We've worked on reclaiming our apple orchard this morning. We've got some sand plum saplings planted. Sand plums are also known as the Chickasaw plums, named after the Chickasaw Nation, the indigenous people that inhabited this area before they would harvest the plums and make a lot of jams and pies and good things, somewhat similar to the same way that we do today. This project started out yesterday. If you watched yesterday's video, before we let the goats out in the pasture, we actually dug up a lot of these saplings to move them over here so the goats wouldn't eat them all. It's going to take a couple of years for these guys to produce fruit, but they're super fast growers. One of the unique things about these guys is that they're an asexual reproduction type of plant, which means that they'll grow both male and female parts. So it only takes one plant to self-pollinate and produce fruit. But what we've done is put a thicket on two sides to hopefully increase that process and have our own sand plum thicket on this side of the creek. Well, I suppose you want to know what this looked like before we got started, so I'll get out of the way and let you take a look. Well, here we go. If you caught the video yesterday, you noticed when I was walking up the path in our front yard, you saw a bucket full of green things. Well, those were actually the sand plums that we dug out of the pasture yesterday, little saplings. What we did then was take them from the bucket and we stored them in our, right now it's a frog pond. Cosmopolitan people's going to call it a water feature. I'll see if I can get this water feature going later on this summer with a little waterfall and everything. But back to the sand plums. Experts say that when you dig out a sapling, you should let it soak for about 24 hours in some water before you put it into the ground. So that's just what we did, and these guys are looking all nice and good. Pull them out here. One of the things I wanted to point out to you, if I can hold the camera so that you can see this. Although sand plums do grow from seeds, they also grow from suckers. So you can see the big root along the bottom. That was from the actual thicket that we've got out there. Thought I'd show you our mature sand plum thicket. A lot of things you look at online is going to call them a bush. They'll also say they go up to about 12 feet. I don't have my tape measure, I'm gonna guess these jokers are at least 20 feet. And then you can see all these little suckers growing up out of that. So we're going to plant this as a whole unit in there. Sand plums doesn't necessarily care how close or how far apart they are, and then as they grow, you know, in the next couple of years or so, we'll certainly thin them out. But to begin with, we're going to plant this whole sucker in there and see what happens. Well, another project done. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this one, please subscribe, and we'll see you the next time.